Now at noon, while police were breaking up a fight in Portland's Old Town last night, they say a man ran a stop sign and hit 4 women in the street. We'll let you know how the women are doing and what the driver's been charged with. Plus,
it kind of scares me because now it's going to look really bad on people like myself.
that's one man's reaction to ODOT saying it will no longer pay the city to remove homeless camps set up near Portland freeways. We'll have more on that decision that stems from state lawmakers failing to pass a transportation funding package last month. But first,
there is no better place to spend a holiday weekend than with your friends.
happy 249th birthday to the USA. We're going to share some of the local ways to celebrate the 4th of July holiday coming up on KGW News at noon. And we start today's newscast with a live look at downtown Portland from our Rose City Skycam. Boom, there it is. It is cloudy outside, still dry though here in Portland. Thanks for joining us. I'm Drew Carney, and Rod Hill is standing by for us in the Weather Center. So Rod, I know you are tracking some thunderstorms in other parts of the viewing area.
Absolutely right. We started to talk about this at noon yesterday, the fact that storms out east could throw clouds over the Cascades into Portland, and that is the reason we are overcast and not sunny. It's because of what you see happening in central and eastern Oregon. And for the time being, you can see the big cluster of thunderstorm activity is well east of Bend, and then we got some storms up here near Baker City. The last 30 minutes is showing 58 strikes. So far, what's been happening is have not seen word of any significant fire starts, although it's probably premature to even think about that. But what we do know is that the Weather Service has issued a variety of different flash flood watches, meaning these lightning storms are producing significant downpours. Radar shows pretty widespread amounts of 1/4 to about 1/2 inch of rain. Some isolated storms have even dropped 1 inch of rain. And while that is problematic, if the rain falls on burn scars, you can have some flooding. But overall, the rain also limits new fire potential. So that's good news. We do have the one red flag warning down around Lakeview in south central Oregon. The temperature in Portland is 64. We will stay dry for the remainder of today. And we'll probably pull out of the clouds at some point and get some sun. I do want to show you the temperature still expected for the 4th of July 10 o'clock fireworks show. A very comfortable 64 degrees. Not the sunniest of days, but it's not hot. It is dry, and it's pretty pleasant to be outdoors, Drew.
All right, Rod, we'll check back in with you in just a few minutes. From those fireworks you talked about, to parades, to live music. Yep, the 4th of July weekend is jam-packed with things to see and do. KGW's Devin Haskins has a look at some of the big events happening around the area.
At Tom McCall Waterfront Park, the final touches are being put in place. Starting Friday, several musicians will take over 2 stages at the Waterfront Blues Festival. It's expected to draw around 10,000 people a day.
There is no better place to spend a holiday weekend than with your friends. Waterfront Park, sun's out, live music in the heart of the city. It's really easy to get on board with how good that feels.
Christina Fuller is the festival's director, and she says this year, instead of the festival lasting 4 days like it has in the past, this year it's only 2.
And that's in response to what 2024 looked like. 3 out of the 4 days last year were record-setting temperatures, and that's really hard on a small business.
And on Friday night, a large fireworks display to cap off the night.
We hear of folks watching it from near and afar.
Around the area, there are several other celebrations on the 4th, from a fireworks show at Oaks Park to a fireworks-free drone show in Tigard. And while you're looking up in the sky, watch out for F-15s flying overhead several cities in Oregon and southwest Washington.
This is cool here. 380. Okay.
We stopped by the Mean Gene fireworks stand in Clark County as several people were getting their last-minute fireworks.
Going to the beach for the big family get-together for the 4th of July, celebrate the U.S., and just have some great fireworks and good family time.
Jim Hopkins says his family has gone to the beach for 20 years to celebrate.
It's a lot closer than being jammed in a crowd with everything, you know, and we have ages from babies all the way up to the 90s. So it's just a good time for everybody to get together and really have just a good time together.
And back at the Blues Fest, while it may be a little smaller and a slightly shorter festival, Fuller says it won't stay this way for long.
This is a great fit for this year, but we hope to see it grow a little bit again back in 2026.
Devin Haskins, KGW News.
Meanwhile, Oregon Parks and Recreation wants to remind people that lighting fireworks in state parks and on state beaches is not allowed. The State Department says 3 state parks have already been shut down or evacuated because of fires since the start of wildfire season. There's also concerns about the debris left over from fireworks that can be harmful to wildlife. Anyone who violates the rules for state parks and beaches could face a fine of up to $400. All right, that brings us to an update on the Cold Springs fire in Umatilla County. That's the one burning near Hermiston and Hat Rock State Park. The good news, all evacuation levels have been dropped in that area, down to a level 1 get ready advisory. The fire is 60% contained at this point, but it's also burned nearly 3,000 acres and destroyed at home. Firefighters and homeowners used heavy equipment to build control lines that help them save other homes in that area. Developing this afternoon, we have more details about a fight that broke out in Portland's Old Town last night, where police say a driver also hit 4 women with his car. So police say they initially responded to reports of a large fight near the intersection of Northwest 4th and Cooch. Officers were able to break it up, and they say the crowd of about 100 people started to leave, but that's when police say a driver ran a stop sign and hit those 4 women. They all ended up in the hospital with serious but not life-threatening injuries. Officers arrested the driver, 32-year-old Tyler Miller. His charges include DUI, reckless driving, and assault. Another person was taken to the hospital after a head-on collision earlier this morning in North Portland. Police say this happened around 5 a.m. near North Columbia Boulevard and Interstate Place. Investigators say it appears an SUV crossed the center median and hit a tractor trailer head-on. The driver of the SUV went to the hospital. The driver of the truck, meanwhile, stayed at the scene and cooperated with officers. ODOT says it will no longer pay the city of Portland to remove homeless camps from ODOT property that lies within city limits. So that basically means areas along the freeway that have long attracted tents and campers. As KGW's Evan Watson explains, this is part of the fallout from Oregon lawmakers failing to pass a new transportation spending package last month.
Portland leaders are expecting more tents and trash along major roadways. The Oregon Department of Transportation is cutting funding for camp removals on ODOT property, a concern to people like Michelle Taylor.
I get it, but it does keep the roads clear of garbage and trash and homeless people, so it's easier to get around.
ODOT was sending Portland $4 million per year to clear homeless camps and clean up areas near highways and bridges. The department says it's cutting the program because it no longer has the money. ODOT is also planning to announce major layoffs this month following Oregon lawmakers' failure to pass a major transportation funding package this session. Bear Treat is currently homeless, living in a campsite near I-405 in Northwest Portland.
Almost 2 weeks. That's probably the longest I ever stayed anywhere, really.
He says he's less worried about the frequency of sweeps and more worried about how Portlanders will view homeless people if cleanups are cut, even if he takes responsibility for his belongings.
It kind of scares me because now it's going to look really bad on people like myself, you know. And no matter how much cleaning that I'm going to do, I know it's not going to cut it, you know.
Portland Mayor Keith Wilson criticized ODOT's decision to cut the partnership, saying it's a major blow to vital cleanup and camp removal efforts. The compounding impact of this service disruption will be more trash, more hazards, and more danger to both our unhoused and all those who rely on our critical transportation corridors. Then there's Danielle Mercia-Ruiz, a Housing First advocate who's okay with fewer sweeps in favor of more services.
I feel like cleaning up our highways is an important act, but when it comes to sweeps, I feel there's a level of inhumanity when there's not solutions afforded with that for adequate housing.
Treat says he'll step in if he notices more tents and trash in the months to come.
A group of people who would want to go out with me and clean up the streets and make sure, you know, everything looks somewhat decent, you know. I actually take a lot of pride in doing it. I think that's what I'll do.
Evan Watson, KGW News.
A new audit says Oregon has made significant improvements to its motor voter system, but also shows there is some work to be done here. So the governor and Secretary of State ordered the independent review after errors were discovered in the automatic voter registration system, including cases where people were registered to vote without proof of citizenship. The audit found the DMV and Elections Division have closed a lot of the gaps, but it still recommends better training, error tracking, and information oversight. Both agencies say they're already putting those suggestions into action. Here's a look at some national headlines this afternoon. Several people have died in Texas as extreme weather causes flash flooding in parts of the state. This video here is from a local restaurant that shows the Guadalupe River, which has reportedly swelled to near record levels. A flood watch issued for roughly 30,000 people yesterday was upgraded to a flood warning as weather shifted overnight. And President Trump is facing some criticism for using an anti-Semitic slur during a speech in Iowa yesterday. While talking about the passage of his big, beautiful bill, the president used the slur in reference to bankers he referred to as, quote, bad people. The Anti-Defamation League says the slur reinforces stereotypes of Jewish people as money-hungry and greedy. When asked about his use of the term, President Trump said he, quote, never heard it that way. And that's a look at some of today's national headlines.